Rotors are the heart of your rotary engine. If your side seal clearances are too tight, they will expand, heat bind, and destroy your engine. And if they're too loose, you will lose compression. Improperly installed oil cutoff rings can spin and destroy your rotor and the irons. Welcome back to my Rotary Life Garage. Today, we're fully renewing our RX8 rotors, starting with deep clean to pressing fresh bearings, installing new oil control rings with new springs, and hand cutting custom side seals. This video is a two-part series because there's so much to cover. If you wish to avoid making expensive mistakes, I recommend watching this detailed video thoroughly and rewatching it over and over again. In this video, you will find a lot of the missing details in several other videos that are out there on YouTube. We will be sharing a lot of the tips, tricks, and techniques that are required to assemble your rotors in a robust way. The cleaning techniques for your rotor will vary depending on your rotor's condition. Some of the rotors that have come out of engines that have been stored for a long time can have plenty of rust on them and require significant amount of deep cleaning for the rust. Some others will come out with a lot of carbon deposits just because they came out of an engine that was recently blown. Sometimes there's combination of rust as well as carbon. In this particular case, we had simply a significant amount of carbon buildup. This cleaning technique will apply to a rotor that does not necessarily have a lot of rust. The way I went about this was by soaking both rotors in solvent solution for many days actually, and I used various grit Scotch Brite scrubbing pads to take the carbon deposits off the surfaces. As I shown you before, we used a modified broken side seal to create a tool that allowed us to remove a lot of the carbon deposits in the side seal grooves. A liberal use of PD Blaster was very effective in getting all of the carbon deposits from the side seal grooves. Now let's jump in and follow along the process of replacing the rotor bearings.
Stay. We have our stop blocks. This radius here is a little bit bigger than this radius here on the gears. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this down. And then I'm going to center it by touch as closely as it can so we're not pressing the bearing against the stops. And the idea is if that radius is outside of the gears, well, the gears are outside the radius of this bearing surface. Okay.
So yeah, this is sitting inside of the.
Yeah. Okay. Our
Press.
alignment's still good on the what is the gear called?
It's just the rotor gear.
The rotor gear. Okay, so the alignment's still good on this to this. So.
Ooh. Ooh. I highly recommend the specialized tool that we're using to remove the stationary bearings from the rotors. They're precisely made for this application, and it's best to use the precise tool. It costs about $70 to $80. I'll put a link below in the description.
And there it is. And now we can inspect the bearing. I mean, I think it was just worth changing it, to be honest.
Now we're preparing the new bearing for installation. This trick we learned from somebody in Australia. He does have a YouTube channel, I forget his name, but he puts these guiding lines on both sides of the notch, and it helps you guide the bearing through into the rotor.
This piece right here has to align with that notch right there. So we made that mark. Right? So as we get it together, we don't have to stand over it and eyeball it. We can just say, hey, there's our mark. And we can get our mark lined up and get it twisted exactly where it needs to go. Okay? The hard part is that it's casting a shadow, but the teeth are casting shadows. I'm good. Pretty sure I'm good. I'm going to clear up the dust.
Gentle does it. You want Want to check the line again?
Wrong or not, it started.
Yeah, just check the line one more time before we go too far in.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's going right into the line. Yep.
Okay, whoa, right there.
And step and repeat the same process for the second rotor. Now we have to get the oil control rings ready. All of the oil control rings have O-rings in them. What I've done is I used a very thin layer of oil on the oil control rings as well as the O-rings, and was able to just lay it on a plastic bag and then carefully get the O-ring inside of the oil control ring. The outer oil control ring has the O-ring on the inside, and that's the most trickiest to get. So here you can see that I am trying to get this O-ring in, and you just have to work with it patiently. Just make sure that the O-ring is not rotated or does not have a slack in it. It just takes a little bit of patience to get this done, and I think by the time you do the third and the fourth phase of the rotor, you'll get quite proficient with this. Now we're going to switch over to the inner oil control ring and put that O-ring on.
Okay, I'm just rubbing some oil on it. You can see there's a little thin layer of it in there. And this one's pretty simple. Just rolls right into it. Like that.
What I did was I prepared all of the oil control rings with the O-rings and put them back in the plastic bag. This is just a step to prepare all of the components to start getting them ready to be reassembled.
Right, so what I've decided to do is to take just one side of the rotor out, figure out everything related to the side seal, the oil control rings, and then move on to the next, because I know people take this off, they're able to just do it without an issue, but since I'm doing it for the first time, I just wanted to make sure that I'm doing it all the right way. So I'm gonna do this one step at a time. One spring out, clean that out, put that back in. One spring out, clean that out, put that back in. I'm just gonna go that way so I don't screw this up or mess this up by any means. And then again, we'll clean it again and again. One more little step. So I'm going to, like I was saying before, do one spring at a time. Blue marked ones and white marked ones. But I'm gonna go like for like. So let's take this guy out, the inside most one. This guy has rounded edge going downwards, which is the blue marked ones. So I'm going to replace this guy with a brand new blue spring like that. Make sure it sits in the hole. I don't know why it's not catching.
It is extremely critical that these springs catch in those notches and do not rotate.
That I had to kind of finagle it in there. I'll show you guys. So I just finagled that in that position right there. See, now it's locked. It comes off easy. So I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I assume it's a bad thing, because if you look at this guy, see, it's like solidly stuck in there nicely. See that? So we see what's going on here. Spring. Not sure if it's just a little too crunched up in there, and there is a divot here too. Let's see if it fits better on this divot. So pressed it in. Hopefully that'll do it. Here's that notch, and that notch, I think it's supposed to go on top of this raised edge probably locks into, so I think that's what's going on. So we'll try that. Now, because I didn't drown this in oil, I am going to put more oil on this. So that, I believe, is going to be how this thing's supposed to go in. Of course, I need to have something to pressure it in, so we're gonna get those two rubber mallets. Let me see if we can course that in. There you go. There you go. It's set pretty well. And so we'll go on to the outer, same story. We replaced the spring already. I'm gonna just add more oil to this. And again, we are going to look for that notch, and we're gonna try to put it on the raised.
Be careful when you are handling the oil control rings. They are very sharp. So when you press down on the rings, just make sure you don't run your fingers around the edge of it, because it will cut you.
Okay. I wonder if it's better to do the outer one first, or if this is okay. I don't know.
If you have a preference of which one you do first, please leave your comment below.
It doesn't want to set, just like most people have said before. It does not want to be in there. I think, to be honest, I think it's set. I think, guys, that worked. I can feel that sharp surface people talk about. This inside surface is super sharp.
Now moving on to the cutoff seal. This is the outermost seal on the rotor. We are going to replace the springs underneath the cutoff seal. The cutoff seals are pretty expensive, and so we are going to check whether these seals are within specification as captured in the Mazda engine workshop manual. If they are within spec, we don't need to necessarily change them. We will put them back together with a brand new spring. I'm going to share some screenshots of the Mazda workshop manual here so you guys have a reference to the specification as well. Let's see if these seals are within spec and we can reuse them.
All of the tolerances are in here, but I'm referring to this where I'm measuring the minimal tolerances of the oil scraping ring, so cutoff seal, and it's supposed to be 3.95 standard height and no less than 3.8 millimeters. Because I'm using the old oil scraping rings, I wanted to make sure that these are still within spec. Trying to use my caliper here, reset at 0. You just check across a couple of spots. So I'm starting here. So I'm at 3.96. I think that's fine. 9.5. Check it over here again. 3.95. And right at the tip, 3.95 and 3.95. So that's the critical spec. We wanted to make sure we check that, and now we can put it back together.
In addition to the cutoff seal height, there is also a minimum projection requirement. So this cutoff seal needs to project out from the rotor for at least 0.5 millimeters.
One of the things that you guys probably already know, but I'll just put it out there. The bottom end of this caliper, right here, you can measure the step by this little thing. So if I come down here, you'll see that the caliper comes out this way, and you can measure the step. So that's what I'm going to use to measure here. So this is the old spring. It did have some bounce, but I don't know. I was just concerned that that would not work very well. And just for the sake of science, let's see where we are in the projection for this. So it is projecting about 0.6. So it wasn't bad. It was right about the minimum. So I am not too unhappy that I changed this spring, because as you can see, this spring is pretty well compressed. There's a pink mark on the spring right there. That part of the spring faces up, goes up like this. And so I'm putting that upwards.
Place the spring in such a way that the locating pin remains exposed and the cutoff seal notch co-locates with this pin. Since the alignment of the notch is critical, it is best to start with the cut portion of the oil cutoff seal, align it, place it, and then press it down in place.
All right.
And now it's time to verify our specification for the projection of the oil cutoff seal.
Minimum projection is 0.5. I'm going to come here, put that in. I am at 1.05. So this is projecting quite more than necessary. But again, over time, you're guaranteed to have this compress and sink in. So there is no requirement of maximum as long as it's seated. And so I'm about 1 millimeter above the surface in most places. So far we've accomplished a lot. We've cleaned the rotors, we got the rotor bearings in place, we got all the oil cutoff rings as well as the oil control ring in place, and we made sure that they meet specifications for our rotors. This will ensure that our engine runs without burning any oil, and you will not have oil smoke in your exhaust. In part 2, we're going to cover the side seals. The reason I made a separate video for the side seal is because it requires a significant amount of precision work. I'm going to share my method that I followed to custom cut the side seals. I used simple off-the-shelf tools, nothing fancy, and I hope you find the information useful and that you can use it to cut your own side seals. YouTube is starting to send me data analytics on how the videos are doing, and I noticed that 80% of you are not subscribed to the channel. If you find this information useful, I request you to subscribe to my channel
With subscriptions, YouTube tends to promote the videos better, and that you and folks like you who are looking for this information can find those videos a lot easier. Thank you again for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.